Okay, so now we have another example of some sort of problem involving a triangle. It says the isosceles triangle MNO has MN equal to NO, which equals 7, and MO, which equals 10. And then it asks us to find the area of the triangle MNO. That's what those brackets mean, the brackets around MNO. So from now on, I'll be using that to stand for area, basically. Now, what is the area of a triangle? Or specifically, what would the area of MNO be equivalent to? Well, probably we could guess that it's 1/2 the base times the height, based on our previous work. And can we guess what some of these values might be? Well, the base seems to be 10 because we think of the base as the bottom part of the triangle. So I'm going to fill in a 10. But I don't know what h is because h is the height and it's not telling me the height. Some students may get confused and think 7 is the height. But if you think of it logically, you measure the height straight from the top of an object and straight to the bottom of that same object. So what can we do from here? Well, one question you can ask is, where is the height? And another question you can ask is, well, I've been working with right triangles this whole time, so maybe my problem should involve a right triangle. And indeed, if we were to draw the line straight down, which is the height, we would get something that looks about to be a right triangle. So now we can work with the Pythagorean theorem. So how do I know what, if I were to call this point, I don't know, x, what would mx be equal to? Well, that would be equal to 5. And I know that because it's an isosceles triangle. Therefore, the distance from n to m and o is the same. So if I draw a line straight down, it's going to cut that length in half. And now I have a right triangle. I know two sides, so let me try to find h. Well, if I set up the Pythagorean theorem correctly, I have my two legs, which is 5 squared plus h squared. I'll set that equal to 7 squared. 5 squared is 25 plus h squared equals 49. Subtract 25 from both sides, and you will get h squared is equal to, well, 49 minus 20 is 29 minus 5, that would be 24. And now I have to take the square root on both sides to find out what h is. I get h is equal to, well, the square root of 24. Now what is the square root of 24? Well, I can break that down into factors. So one easy factor is 2 times 12. Well, I don't get any information here that I can use, so let's break it down further. We have 12, which is 2 times 6. And if we notice here, now I have the square root of 4, since 2 times 2, times 6. And I'm not going to break down the 6, because its only factors are 2 and 3. And that won't get me any perfect squares. But now I have a perfect square. I have the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. And as we know, the square root of 4 is 2. And then I have a leftover square root of 6. And that is my value for h. Now, I can plug it in to my formula for area. And for h, I now have 2 square root 6 So what does this all equal? Well, 1/2 times 10 is 5. And we still have times 2 square root of 6. Well, 5 times 2 is simply 10. Keep the square root of 6 because it doesn't reduce to anything special. And that is our answer for the area. 10 times the square root of 6.